I want to thank everybody who came tonight. Welcome, Joanne Wagner. Joanne is from FaCT, which is Faith Communities Standing Together Sustainably. Sustainably standing together.
Yeah.
So Joanne's our speaker tonight, and I'm going to let her take it away.
My name's Joanne Wagner, and I'm from FaCT, Faith Communities Together for a Sustainable Future. And the group educates, inspires, advocates, and organizes for a sustainable transition to renewable energies and practices and policies. So we're going to share. So you guys are going to say as much as I do. What is climate change? We're going to watch a video that was put together by the UN.
Protests around the world. Headlines about extreme weather events. Scientists and public figures calling for action. And governments uniting in the search for solutions. Climate change is a global issue, and we must work together to save our world. But what exactly is climate change? Our planet's climate has changed throughout history, alternating between ice ages and warmer periods. Earth has been through at least 5 major ice ages, with the last one ending nearly 12,000 years ago. So if the climate has always changed, why is climate change such a big issue today? Since the start of the Industrial Revolution in 1760, Earth's average temperature has risen faster than ever before. This effect is known as global warming, and it's caused by the increase of greenhouse emissions from human activity. Greenhouse gases occur naturally on our planet, but human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels, agriculture, deforestation, and the decomposition of waste in landfills have increased the amount of greenhouse gases dramatically. Greenhouse gases act like a blanket around Earth, trapping the heat from the sun's rays. This is called the greenhouse effect. Thanks to this effect, Earth has just the right temperature for life to thrive on it, unlike other planets in our solar system. However, if the greenhouse effect becomes too strong, it starts to cause issues. The increased temperatures we are experiencing now are causing ice in the Arctic and Antarctica, as well as glaciers and snow around the world, to melt. The water created by the melting ice pours into the oceans, causing sea levels to rise. This puts small islands in danger of disappearing, especially those in the Pacific and Caribbean regions. Rising sea levels are also causing devastating floods in many countries like China, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, and Thailand. These floods are not only a direct hazard to humans, but can also destroy crops and farms used to feed the population. Another effect of the rising temperatures is that oceans warm up and evaporate faster than normal, increasing the occurrence of severe storms and heavy rainfall. Global warming is making weather more extreme, bringing longer droughts and heat waves. The loss of soil moisture and the high temperatures during a drought increase the risk of wildfires too. The high temperatures both on land and in our oceans affect Earth's delicate ecosystems. Many animals are forced to migrate to other areas to survive, while others are losing their habitat and dying. So, can we do anything to stop the effects of climate change? Climate change has already reached a point that humanity has never experienced before. However, the future of our planet is in our hands. Communities must make smart choices and tackle this issue with environmentally friendly actions. Some solutions to limit global warming include switching from burning fossil fuels to renewable and greener energy sources like solar, hydroelectric, or wind energy. Reducing the emissions caused by industry and transportation by investing in greener technology. And limiting the deforestation of land and investing in more space-efficient forms of agriculture, like vertical farming. These are all big solutions, but there are also smaller things that you can easily do at home. For example, recycling, composting your organic waste, eating more veggies and fewer meat products, saving electricity, and buying things that last longer or can be reused. People around the world are working together to innovate, engineer, and develop solutions for the issue of climate change. Bhutan is the world's most carbon-negative country. Costa Rica has achieved 99% renewable energy. And China is now the world leader in wind power. Climate change is a global issue, and our future depends on the actions we take today. How is your community working towards a more sustainable future?
We've seen what climate change is. What have you seen evidence that there is climate change or how it's affected?
Did anyone else see the pictures from Artemis from the moon mission? Did you see when they compared it to 1970, the shot of the Earth? It was like they showed the one from the moon landing in 1970, and it was very clear. And I was excited. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great because our technology is so good. The picture is going to be better." And then they showed the current one, and it's all kind of hazy looking, and like almost I thought, well, how could it be our cameras aren't as good? And then it dawned on me, it's our atmospheres all messed up.
Pollution.
Yeah, it's they were saying that really is showing like the impact of what that our atmosphere has really gotten thin, and it just looks hazy, and it kind of almost looks sickly compared to what it was, in 1970. So yeah, I mean, to me that's like proof,
And all the storms and the
Wild.
landslides,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just
one
horrific.
after another.
Yes, at the worst they've ever been.
Well, and we work in insurance, and there's things called like 100-year floods or 500-year storms, because they're supposed to only happen every 100 or 500 years. And I remember going to a business meeting, and we had 300-year storms in a span of 2 years, and we were all like, we're not set up for that.
Right.
We're not built for that, right? And I see it like the snow this year that we had, everyone's like, "Oh, it's such a terrible winter." I'm like, it felt like a winter from the 90s, like when we actually had snow all winter.
Right.
And stuff.
Cold,
And cold for a long period of time. Like they're having a 60-degree day in the winter was unheard of.
in the swings, the big
Yeah.
right
Within a week.
Yeah.
In a week.
Got it.
you'll have-
But the
Nice.
extremes, like that's the thing, the
Yeah.
extremes, and then the sustained extremes.
Mhm.
That we've always had them, and it just seems to be worse and more frequent.
Okay. All right, you were talking about the storms, and this year we've had, in the state of Ohio, we've had 10 tornadoes, and we only usually get 20 tornadoes, and it's only April. So it's ahead of schedule, and we're getting more. If you remember, in 2024, there was a storm, a big storm, and it spawned multiple tornadoes, and it went over 5 counties.
Right here.
Right along it was right here.
Went right
Yeah.
through our
Oh, yeah.
backyard.
Oh, yeah. It started in Westlake, and it went all along. Okay, and you were talking about the severe climate disasters that cost $1 billion or cause $1 billion worth of damage. They in 1980, you would have those every 4 months. Currently, we're having them every 2 weeks globally.
Yep.
So, And drought, we were talking about drought in 2024. 40 counties were declared disasters because of drought. In Canada, they're in their third year of drought. And as we know, in January, California had two big wildfires, the Eaton and the Palisades. In 2023, Quebec had a big enough fire that we were getting the smoke.
I remember that.
Yeah. So what's different? Why are these wildfires different? Well, right now they're burning very hot, and when they burn hot, they cause big wind. And what happens is the embers of the fires are going to the treetops. And so the regular methods that the firefighters use don't work. They usually dig trenches. They try to keep it down on the ground. And these fires are burning in the treetops. And in Canada, they have bogs, which are wetlands with partially decayed vegetable matter. And they have a lot of peat in these bogs, a lot of carbon. And what is happening, they're in drought conditions, so it's drying out the peat. And once it starts burning, it continues to burn. And even in winter, what it does is it goes underground and continues to burn. And when spring happens, they come to life again and start burning the forests in the areas. So things are different, and they call those, the ones in the peat bogs, they call them zombie fires because they come back to life. And they were talking about flooding. Things are melting. The glaciers are melting, and as they were talking, the island countries are in danger of losing land. And the problem is that they produce less than 1% of the carbon dioxide that is causing climate change, but they're paying the highest price for it. And they're the poorest countries. So what can we do to address climate change? Recycle?
Compost.
Compost, yes.
Because I'm researching buying one of those electronic ones.
The barrels that you
I
crank.
think I need a door one.
No AI.
Yes, because AI uses a lot of energy, a lot of water.
Petition I have is against the data centers, which
good.
are
Yeah, FaCT has people that are developing talks about the data centers and the problems that they will cause. And it's very helpful that you guys already know about that. We can use less fossil fuel. And you can be energy efficient by turning off lights and computers when you do not use them. Wash your laundry in cold water. Get a front end loaded washing machine. It uses less water, uses less energy. And there are new things out. There is a heat pump dryer, and it doesn't have a vent. And it's very efficient. And a heat pump water heater is 3 times as efficient as a regular one. And there was an article in the New York Times where a man got the heat pump water heater, and he said that his bill went down 70%. But not everybody has that experience, but you can estimate that it'll be 3 times more efficient. One of the things that you can do also is you can get your electric suppliers to be 100% renewable content. And I have some information here for you. Those are 2 pages front and back, and they're about easy steps to save the planet, to save Earth. Now, I took this from Bay Village. They actually wrote up a method on how to use, and it's called Energy Choice Ohio. And this page tells you how to use it. Who do you get your electric bills from?
The
illuminating company. Okay, so this, you can use this. Even though it says Bay Village as an example.
Pick your provider, like whether, and then kind of drop down, and then it lists all the competitive companies that you can use.
Like, how do you know if it's one of these?
Clean, because it'll say like clean energy.
Oh.
And
You can sort on
expensive.
renewable. You
So
can
like,
sort on
oh,
renewable
really?
content.
Okay.
So I think this will help a little bit. And as I said, Bay Village put it together, but it's pretty universal as long as you have the illuminating company as your
No, but
Yeah, I think we have Enbridge.
Now we have.
your electric.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's gas. Gas.
we have First Energy.
First
Energy is
Energy
now
illuminating,
And
Yeah.
bridge.
That's it.
not First Energy.
No.
But there's both. When you go to this energy choice, it'll be like electric or gas. And then when you go on either
Oh.
one, who provides it? And that's when we pick like the illuminating, or like if you lived in Toledo, it would be like First Edison or something. But based on where you live. And then there is like where you can filter different things. Like I want a fixed rate, I want renewable. Clean.
Okay.
And then it gives you the companies and how much it costs and how long of a contract you lock it in. And I don't know if any of you guys use NOPEC. Like,
Yeah.
see, they are supposed to be picking the best rates for you, but they aren't necessarily
Oh,
doing
they aren't.
energy.
No,
Yeah.
but you can get NOPEC, but you have to call them for them to tell you what the 100% renewable. So it's not very easy. You're better off using the Ohio Energy. They call the comparison where you filter, they call it apples to apples.
Yeah.
So it's Energy Choice Ohio. And I have checked mine. I'm using Brighton Energy. But right now the rates change. So you're better off to just go in and look for them. But as you were saying, you want a fixed. You don't want a variable. Those are hard. You do not want a charge for ending your
No termination fee.
no
Yeah.
termination fee.
It is pretty simple because I'm not good at that stuff and I can do it. So you guys
That
can do
they
it
make
for
sure.
sure.
You're gonna have to do a little
It
workshop.
used to
Dale.
be easy.
Well, we were talking about maybe we could do a workshop, or you could do it. Who you have people that are knowledgeable and they could do it for you too.
Somebody talking online. Beth, are you talking?
No, I am Tonda.
Hi, Tonda.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just a thought that I've used apples to apples for many years, and it's a anybody can do it. But I would be willing, or we could make consider the option of just being available at the church or library or whatever to donate time to anybody that would like to learn. Just a
You know
thought.
what, Tonda? That sounds like a great service auction item that we might consider.
Right? Because then you could do it at each person's house. I mean, you could bring a laptop in and show the steps, but it would really be nice to have somebody do your. And I found that the price is not that much more. It's like 6 or 8% more than having the other one. Now, what it is there's two entities. There's the transmission, and that's First Energy or the illuminating company. The suppliers of the electricity, this is the part we're talking about, you can get 75% renewable, 100% renewable. So it's very helpful.
In Ohio, it's weird. They can be in other states.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but you contract with them. And so, yeah, when you see the options are like, why is this coming in from Dallas or from this? And there's from all over the place.
But they probably own something here.
Yeah.
Well, what they do is the illuminating company has to buy shares
Of their company.
of their
Okay,
company.
okay.
And they sent me a Visa card for $200 if I would pick them.
Really?
They try to.
Well, they
entice
said
you. They try to entice
there
you.
might be rules and things, but they're really trying to get you to pick them for the electric supplier, because otherwise they have to take your money and go buy renewable content.
Although I have to tell you, a few
Deregulation.
years ago, I had like a 3-year contract with somebody and I had a really good price. And after like a year and a half, they sent me a letter and they said, we're not going to keep you anymore. I think it was because I guess it's like, you always say you can cancel at any time with no fee. Well, I guess it works both ways. I was locked in so low and the
Yeah,
rates were
it's
going
interesting.
up and up. So they just kicked me to the curb.
Yeah,
Well, NOPEC did that. They had contracts and they said, right, but they said, no more NOPEC. I think they took a year off or something. So, I mean, it's the same thing. They can cancel whenever they want to. The other thing that you can do, they show composting. I don't know if you're allowed to have open compost. Where I live, you don't. And I'm very fortunate because I'm in Cuyahoga County and there's a group called Rust Belt Riders. And I take it to my city hall and they have these bins and you just put your compost in there. And it's really helpful. But in the suggestions to save the planet, they put up Rust Belt Riders and they also tell you things you can do if you live in an apartment. There's worm farms and different things that you can do in a small space. The other thing is plastic contains, is made from fossil fuels, right? Plastic is made from fossil fuels. And in addition to that, it takes a lot of energy to make plastic. And it also, there's a lot of toxic fumes that come out of it, a lot of greenhouse gases. And even more than that, the plastic continues to leach these bad things.
Nanoplastics and microplastics.
Well, not only that, if you have a bottle of water in a plastic bottle, that is the one that has the most of the chemicals. And they say that it has something to do with the kind of plastic they're using and the cap. They said the cap is leaching all of these toxic chemicals, and they're transponded and and microplastics don't biodegrade. Here's a handout about plastics and human health. And there's a page behind it that tells you some ways to stop using plastics. There are some plastics that are not as harmful, but they all leach. Endocrine disruptors and neurotoxins.
Problem right now with worrying about our grid and the electricity and water. And so if you want to have water, which they recommend that people get water, things are really very serious. So that makes our life very different. But if you want to get water, the question is, and I had that question to myself, how do you get water to keep? What do you put it in?
Unless
Yeah.
Other than plastic. And I couldn't carry a glass
like a
Yeah.
crock
Right.
that you would,
Right.
and it would not last you. So this, all,
It's a problem.
we're
Yeah.
really in a problem
Quandary,
because we
yeah.
may die from one different thing than another.
Yeah, there's not good options sometimes.
There's
Like
not good
a lot of things you buy, I'd rather it not be packaged that way. It's such a waste. Like I don't need that in a plastic container. Just wrap it in some, wax paper or something. But everything's so plastic oriented. Like you don't really have a whole lot of choice sometimes.
You really often it's triple wrapped.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
And then you open and then it's another thing. So
Completely.
choosing those things that have the least amount.
Yeah.
I've noticed like all these, like with broccoli, they used to put it on a plastic tray and then wrap it.
Yes.
Now it's just wrapped.
yes.
So that's one thing that's eliminated. But yeah, it's almost all they package it in the
So it
most
doesn't need that
cost-effective
tray.
way, but not the healthiest way.
Correct.
In the movie, I have never heard of this vertical farming before.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's a
Really?
big
Oh,
hot
yeah.
thing right
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yes,
No,
it
is
is.
this companies that are doing vertical?
You can do it at home.
There
Like
are
that.
companies that you can, that they give you a kit now, like for
Mhm.
apartments, like people that want to be more vegan. Oh yeah, this has been around for a
So
while.
on your
now.
patio, you can
Big
have like
food.
3 or
Mhm.
4 layers.
Yeah.
Put it inside with broccoli.
Big
Yeah.
plant, I've seen them. And as I said, I think Canada is more into that than we are.
Yes, they are. They're more.
Tomatoes that come down
Yeah.
hydroponically. grown and that sort of thing in the winter.
When you're talking about the plastics and the microplastics and the health concerns with that, if you do the BPA free, stuff, is that obviously it's better? Does it still leach? Do you know? Is it still?
Yes.
Yeah. It's still,
Yeah,
It's just better than.
it's better.
still
There's
good.
some that are better than others. Yeah.
This is very interesting. Cleveland developed a group of students at Case. Developed
Oh, the cleaner.
a group of students at Case developed this specific washing machine that is able to filter nanoplastics out. And it was developed at Case Western University. So that's a cool
Well,
thing.
it's an attachment that you put on your washer. I got one. I got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's called the cleaner. It's supposed to be like $300, but periodically they mark it down. So I got it for $200. So it's called the cleaner, and right, you install it yourself.
And what is it hard to do?
My son did it. I'm sorry.
Do you have to clean filters?
Yes, there are filters that you have to clean, and you have to replace. They have this thing that looks like a cone. You have to replace it periodically. The thing that filters out the microplastics.
An interesting thought. I'm sure it is. And then what do you do with all the microplastics?
I know.
Bury them in the backyard. Leach into your water.
There you go. What we need to do is to have grassroots activism.
Yes.
And if you look at what happened with the banning of smoking in buildings, it came from the bottom up.
Yes.
And right now, there's very, very few places that you can smoke inside. So you have to take that into account and think that we can do that. We can advocate for ourselves. And the other things you can do is solar panels. And you can use a co-op called Solar United Neighbors. And it's on that sheet that I gave you with the easy steps. It's on there. And what they do is, my son did it. You get with a group of people and you buy the solar panels together so you get a better price. And they're also getting plug-in solars for panels that you don't have to have attached to your roof. And right now, Utah, Virginia, and Maine have passed laws so that you can use plug-in solar. In Cleveland, they passed a bill that we can't have community solar. That would be another way. If you can't have it on, live in an apartment building, or you don't have, your roof doesn't face the right way, you could use community solar. So we're going to have to get after them.
Money.
That's right. My son says that he breaks even every year except for January and February with the solar electricity versus the electricity that he needs.
Is he here?
He's in Lyndhurst. He lives in Lyndhurst.
My daughter used to live in Denver in the building she lived in, the house.
We're not quick.
They would actually sell theirs. They made so much.
You can.
But Denver is literally sunny 360
Yeah.
days a year. I'm just wondering here if it was worthwhile, if we get enough sun, because we had a kind of sunny winter this year, even though it was cold. But sometimes you don't see the sun for months. I was just wondering if it's really
as I said,
worthwhile.
he had people come out and look at his roof and which side, and he breaks even. We as you said, we do not have a lot of sun, but to break even, that's good. That's good. So China is manufacturing 80% of the solar panels and 25% of electric vehicles. They are, and what they're also doing is poor countries can get solar panels from them because they're making so many solar panels that they can afford to sell them for less. So what do you think is the most important thing that you can do for climate, to lessen climate change?
Pay attention to what you're doing and what you're buying and who you're supporting.
That's true. Very true.
I think continuing to be educated because
Yes.
things are always changing. There's always something new out there.
That's very.
And sharing information. What
Exactly.
what we're doing.
Talking to other people. More people respond to person than they do to newspaper articles. Okay, good news. If you want to talk to people, 90% of the people are open to discussion. This was done by Yale. They have a call it climate communications, and as you can see, they're different people. They said 60% of these people agree that climate change is real and it's man-made, but they feel they don't know what to do. So talking to them, sharing your information with them. And the other thing to keep in mind is Erica Chenoweth did a study out of Harvard, and she found that if 3.5% of the population is actively participating in nonviolent protest, change can happen. So that's really, it gives you hope. We really don't need mass numbers of people, but they have to be actively doing something, actively talking to people. Ways to talk to people or find shared values, ask them why not. Talk to them about things they love and care about. Children, grandchildren, future generations, and places and things they cherish. Catherine Hayhoe fosters this. She's written books and articles, and she has a TED Talk. And on the TED Talk, she said she went to a Rotary Club. And she lined everything up with their values. Rotary Club has their values, and she lined everything up, but she didn't use the words climate change.
Yep.
And at the end of the talk, a man came up to her and said, I can get behind this, but not that climate change. So, you know, whatever works, there's time. We're not, people talk about in doomsday ways, but we're not. There's still time to change things. Avoid shaming, avoid doomsday talk, advocate for change. Talk to your local, state, and federal legislators. FaCT, they email out issues that they want you to talk about. And right now, they're focusing on 2 bills in the Ohio legislature. And this is to stop radioactive brine being spread on roadways. Pennsylvania has banned radioactive brine. So they bring their radioactive brine to Ohio. So what we'd like to do is have them stop. Now this has numbers to call, and it has a script. If you look, there's scripts, how to talk to them, points of interest, you know, how dangerous it is. And there's also one in there for, there is a bill to allow carbon capture, which is terrible because places that have done carbon capture, what they do is they pump the carbon in the ground to get more oil out, to get the remnants. So it's not really, in the net of it is not doing anything good for climate change.
Why
So-
are they putting this brine on roadways?
Because it has
De-icer.
de-icer.
It as a de-icer?
They do it in communities that don't have a lot of money.
Okay.
They talk them into, hey, you don't have money to salt your roads. You can
We'll
put the
sell you
brine.
this stuff, right?
Right.
So the dirt roads are the ones in the summer, put the dirt.
With
put
the
it on dirt
putting
road.
dust suppression.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. Dust suppression. It's radioactive.
From
And the-
fracking.
It's from the fracking.
Yeah, but
Comes from fracking.
They, I feel like
I've
they
called
used to do it in Geauga County.
Middlefield Township, they did it right out there, but now that was a few years ago. I called about it. I haven't been out there to see what they're doing.
Right.
They may not even have another dirt road. They might not have.
It is funny that doing the right thing for the planet is not the cheapest thing. Which is difficult for people that are financially strapped. So we have to find ways to be able to do this that are economical for everybody.
And it hurts people in areas that are not
Yeah,
wealthy.
right.
Wealthy
Exactly,
places
yes.
don't have.
And they have wells. So this is going into the groundwater and getting into their wells. So they don't have city water. So what I want to let you know, if you want to be informed about the scripts and the people to call, FaCT sends out information. What they try to do though, and you can call anytime, but they try to get everybody to call on a certain day. And Mimi Plevin, she wrote these scripts, but also we are joined with Northeast Ohio Sierra Club, Save Ohio Parks, and Save Ohio Parks is trying to stop fracking altogether, but they're fracking next to our parks, and then they go underground. They say we're not fracking in the park, but they're fracking under the park. Right. Third Act Ohio, Buckeye Environmental Network. So all of these agencies are getting together and they share information and they send out this literature. So if you would like to receive it, you can join FaCT or one of these other organizations. Are there any questions or any more comments people want to have?
Our Ohio legislature and the governor that approved them to go under the state parks and use the parkland and forestry stuff. So it's,
we protested with Save Ohio Parks, and they had been working for a couple of years, and it was very heartbreaking when they approved the first Ohio park. And we have to keep trying, because now they're talking not just fracking next to them, they're talking about fracking in them, in the parks.
Ew.
So it's,
So disgusting.
and they don't have to tell us.
Don't have a U.S. Forest Service anymore either.
No. And the people that frack do not have to tell us what's in their proprietary solution, but we do know that it's radioactive.
That's the same thing about the data centers. They don't have certain things or propriety or whatever the word is, and they don't have to tell you how much mega whatever they use.
They make the cities sign non-disclosure.
Oh.
The
Right.
mayors and the council,
NDAs,
they're
yep.
signing
Yep.
these non-disclosure
Yep.
things, so they don't have to say
Tell
what
the people.
People are gonna have to
how
stand
much
up.
water they're using.
And I wonder if they use that water completely, or do they use it and then put it back, like recycle it?
Put it, well,
It-
no,
So if they're using like
down,
Great
though.
Lakes, then a portion of it'll just go right back
Or
into the
into
Great
our
Lakes.
groundwater. Just
I
do
don't know
that.
why they couldn't do that, more recycling of water.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's
if they're damaging
absolutely-
it, yeah.
Cost
Probably
more.
not cost
It's
effective.
cost,
Yeah. See, that's what, and they don't even know what they're bringing, when they're fracking, they don't know what they're bringing up. And this is centuries, they have no idea what's down there. They're bringing it up into we're up here. Doesn't belong.
Where it doesn't belong.
And when they frack, they go below the water table. So there has to be contamination going on.
The first meeting I went to, which was FaCT in the Unitarian Church, and we really had a good crowd there. And I heard about it, and I heard about all the troubles, and I left the meetings thought, thank God it'll never happen. We can't possibly do something that's that bad. Well, I think how many years has FaCT been in existence? Probably 20 years.
Yeah, close
And
to that.
We're right back. These are the same things I sat around and talked about 20 years ago. I have a drawer that full of FaCT.
He was really anti-fracking.
Yeah.
Is there anybody on Zoom that has questions or comments at all?
Just a quick comment. I know that people in Southern Ohio are really struggling with the spraying of radioactive waste. I have several friends. I used to live down there. I have several friends in that area, and it's really very much affecting Marietta, Ohio, and surrounding community. Um, Sustenance farmers are very concerned about the runoff into their fields, and of course, children. And there was also, Marietta was extremely concerned about contamination of their water supply and organized presentation at the State House. But I can't say that they're slowing down. And that community being more impoverished has been exploited in multiple ways. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone sharing your information. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to, person by person, we're going to share information, and we're going to have a grassroots activism. Thank you very much.
Thank
you.